Hey everyone, have some good news and some bad news. The good news is my consultation in Springfield went relatively well. Bad news, I gotta talk to my people in Albany one more time before my molars officially come out, and I need to see what all the details are. Least of all, I might have to do my appointment day early because is when the anesthesiologist is in. And thankfully, I got some of my stuff already uploaded in advance, ready to go live in advance, and also almost done with some other stuff I wanted to do, and I only had to delay one video because the game I wanted to do it on was giving me some grief. Either from not working properly or at least not letting progress further. Anyway, let's hear my belated thoughts on this month's PlayStation State of Play, which had a lot of good variety in it, so let's begin. The presentation starts off with actually a pretty pleasant surprise among many. Lumines Arise, coming this fall with Maker's Tetris Effect. I mean, it's a unique blend of a puzzle game and a rhythm game. And even as someone who's not played Tetris Effect yet, I've heard very good things about it, so these developers were a perfect choice for his experience, and it won't be the only one I'll be approaching with this mindset either. We have a title that not one of the few titles that got delayed till next year, 2026, but as a consolation, we get another her her bit of story and gameplay details, that being Capcom's Pragmata, which was revealed a bit ago, at least a year or two ago. Oh, and as someone who is doing their best to be open to new IP, even if I may be skeptical, if not outright cynical in some ways, I definitely think this is consistent with Capcom's initiative to not only leverage their vast catalog of existing work, but also create new ones. At first, I thought it was going to be like a teaser of the next console until the game footage started coming up again. So let's continue. Alright, so next up we have Romeo is a Dead Man, which a very unconventional game, which I'm not entirely sure what genre it is, at least, but tonally it looks like it's going to be one that's going to be very unconventional, which I always like to see at least once per generation where they decide to do something a bit more experimental amid all the big egg IPs and genres of the time. So I suppose I'll be keeping an eye on this one, one way or another. Silent Hill F, which is actually going to be coming on 9/25/25 of this year, just in time for Halloween, fittingly enough. And I'll admit, of a lot of the revival projects they had that weren't linked to some kind of merchandise or, heaven forbid, cryptocurrency, this is one of the ones that honestly had the most potential, being one that's chronologically even before the first game, and even set in 1960 Japan. And so, hopefully, in terms of quality, we'll have more in common with last year's remake of the second game, so much so they're actually planning to do the first and third titles, fittingly enough. And then the disastrous Ascension and Short Message, which, I mean, I'm not saying you can't make this franchise a parable for one's own psyche. It's been baked into the franchise from near the beginning. It's just that you have to be very careful how you handle it. Like any such a matter, tricky to get right and easy to mess up. At least that's my understanding. Okay, so next we have another game that's coming in 2026, but also looks to be highly anticipated, rightly so. Bloodstained, The Scarlet Engagement, the next chapter in the Bloodstained saga. Looks to be another highly anticipated installment in Koji Igarashi's spiritual successor to his work in the Castlevania games. In fact, I would argue a lot of the ones that he was directly involved with on the Game Boy Advance and Nintendo DS and SN 2000s were some of the best installments of the franchise. And even before that, Symphony of the Night is still not just one of the best PS1 titles ever made, but also a contender of one of the greatest games of all time, no matter which version you're playing. And so, yeah, consider me excited for this one. Alright, so next up, Digimon Story Time Stranger. I mean, even as someone who has not played every single Digimon game that's ever been put out, my fandom tends to come more from the anime and other merches. I will say that this one has potential in terms of storytelling and also the gameplay loop being like Digimon meets Shin Megami Tensei. It's coming October 3rd, so here's hoping it ends up being good. I mean, like the Cyber Sleuth titles end up being solid. I also maintain that Digimon Survive is not a perfect title, but as a horror story, it is worth playing, I'll say that much. Mm-hmm. And next, we have one of Square Enix's worst kept secrets, which they've been trying to get made for a very long time by Creators on a Mission, and brace yourselves. Coming September 30th, we have a new Final Fantasy Tactics. I mean, specifically, it's an HD2D remake of the original PlayStation game, AIM, which also contains the original PSX release in its entirety. Don't even have to unlock it, which is always a bonus. Or there's not currently any more of the Lions expansion, or any doing something similar to the Game Boy Advance version, which was different but still worth playing. And I could see an expansion of that being coming after launch. I mean, the way they were wording this. It always is nice to see when they're actually putting out games that aren't overproduced live services that no one really wants or needs. I mean, people who already have their forever games put out are going to stick to those ones until the day they go dark. Count on that. Swinging back to the other side of the pendulum, we have another very offbeat title, which caught my and others' eyes when they revealed it previously, and now it's going to be coming out this September on the 8th of that month. That being Baby Steps, with its unconventional approach to open world design and traversal. Reminds me a lot of like a next generation version of that one QWOP, so name where you use those keys on the keyboard to try and control your racer, or in my case, I play the ponyfied version where each key controls one hoof, as you might expect. I mean, like, it's amazing how Rainbow Dash can and Master Sonic Ray Boom, but I can barely get her up the stairs. Also on the docket is Hirogami. It's definitely a title that I'm still trying to form my own thoughts on, but I think I'll have a solid idea what to think after it goes live on September 3rd, especially compared to what I've got next. We have now a confirmed date for Everybody's Golf Hotshots. It's using both brandings for that franchise. It's one of my two go-to golf games, the other being Mario Golf. Tend to prefer more arcade style than realistic style whenever I can. And as this has a long history with the PlayStation brand, and at one point it was actually an in-house IP before the rights went to Namco pre a partnership with Bandai, hence why Pac-Man is one of the many characters to be included in what is now expected to be the largest roster in the franchise's history. So yeah, you can definitely say I'm eager to give this one a try, as I often am. July 31st, we have Ninja Gaiden Ragebound on top of the in-development fourth main game, which it seems to implies not it's going to be taking the first two and the Razor's Edge version of the third game as canon, meaning the divisive third base installment is apocryphal, and just the idea of a new 2D installments of attains like the challenge but also the fun of the other installments. When seeing you're also getting like a new 2D Shinobi game does the same, that in itself is going to be worth the price to me at least. Another game that might be interesting is Karn, another kind of unconventional cinematic mountaineering game. Apologies for pronunciation, but it's releasing on November the 5th. I mean, remember the 5th of November, you all know the rest. Alright, so later this year, from Digital Eclipse, the same people who worked on collections for Street Fighter, Disney Afternoon, Ninja Turtles, and I've also heard very good things about Atari 50 as well, comes the Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection, which includes numerous titles of the vast franchise back catalog, many of which are coming to the current generation of platforms for the first time. Every legacy entry from the arcades to consoles, and yes, even the divisive handheld installments like Mortal Kombat Advance, the first game ever to get a 0 out of 10 from Electronic Game Monthly, by the way, is going to be presented here, as well as a whole slew of interviews with developers, design documents. It's basically like the whole interactive museum package, which as Digital Clubs excels and I will simply say, to quote Shao Kahn, excellent. There's no date for this yet beyond 2025, although I could see it releasing this October to coincide with the release of the high anticipated sequel to the 2021 movie. And also will be really great with the upcoming Project Defiant Fight Stick, which will be the first fight stick made specifically for the PS5. I mean, just a code name, there's no date for it yet, but it definitely looks like it'll be pretty slick, so let's keep going. We've also got a nice meaty update on Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater Delta, which is still coming on August 28th. But I'm remaining skeptical by way of cautiously optimistic as a big fan of the original game, but what I'm seeing so far is actually doing right by the original one story of Snake's first major mission in Cold War era Russia in the 1960s, and especially even getting down to like the unique methods of the boss fights. This whole clash with Rykov looks incredible. Personally, and they even retain like the Ape Escape minigame, which this, as well as like the Wranglers and Ape's appearance in the highly acclaimed successful Astrobot, does actually make a solid argument for giving those games like the Crash Insane Trilogy and Spyro Reignited Trilogy treatment, and I'll get to more on that later in this presentation. So in 2026, we'll have Neo 3, the sequel to the first two installments, a Souls-like retelling of Japanese folklore, or with some historical figures mixed in there, but I could tell the way they're approaching this, they're really focusing more on entertainment than accuracy, which suits me just fine. And of course, it's a textbook example of, as schmuck bait, they put the first boss of the game right near the opening area for you to challenge you at the beginning. By the way, don't challenge that first boss near the beginning. Worst mistake of my life. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing others get good once it releases in 2026. Count on that. Alright, so we've only have one PSVR title this time around, and it's one that's an interesting and long dormant franchise, that being Thief VR Legacy of Shadow. Honestly, as someone has been a low-key fan of this franchise, which has been dormant ever since the last reboot, that was very divisive a decade ago. So I'll take it, personally. Okay, so from the people who gave us Road 96, a actually fairly solid, if admittedly flawed, independent game, we have Tides of Tomorrow, which is coming on February 24th next year. And I think it has potential with its premise of being people living on atolls made of refuse after the ocean rises to an untenable level. Whole kind of like in Waterworld. I mean, I don't know why, but that movie keeps coming up a lot lately. Albeit not for reasons I intended, but still. There's that. As I mentioned before, we now have an Astrobot update. For with loads of new challenges, as well as more to come, with new bots to rescue, which includes bots based on the highly anticipated Ghost of Yote and more. There's no actual date yet, but it is coming later this year, so I'll definitely keep an eye on it. Alright, so we've also got another game coming out next year called Sea of Remnants, where you play as an amnesiac puppet who is in a world full of pirates, which honestly, I think it could be good, since I've enjoyed other titles of that nature before, as did my late brother. I mean, there are in fact that I may actually finally give Sea of Thieves a try now it's coming to other systems, especially just like that. Next up, Sword of the Sea, where we have, that's the one I definitely am confident in, given how it's made by the same people who have done Ebsu, The Pathless, and Journey. Definitely what you call art games, but some of the best examples of that, where there's no really major conflicts of sorts beyond. It's really all about movement and just the ambience. And this is coming out a bit sooner on August 19th, and I definitely think it's a game that could be entertaining based on the developer's previous work, so I guess we'll find out soon enough. With another simultaneous retail PSN store and PS Plus debut was FBC Firebreak, which I've never been as sold on as much as others. I mean, this one dropped today, which is part of the reason why I chose to do this video, but if you ask me how I feel about doing, my response would be, I don't know. Even someone who cites Control as her favorite of the Remedyverse, as it's now being known, which just that Alan Wake and Max Payne are in the same pixel universe Control. It could be a fun surprise like Helldivers 2 was, or it could be another Crossfire X or Concord level misfire. I mean, the things actually just put out like a YTP on the game. I think more people are watching that poop than actually played it, so there's that. Now, there's a whole slew of classics announced for PlayStation Plus, which is the main reason I'm subscribed to this tier. I'll likely continue to be so, if/when I upgrade to a PS5 in the near future. So let's get to it with the PS2 version of Deus Ex: The Conspiracy, which is celebrating its 25th anniversary this year. And even though most people I know are familiar with the PC version, it's actually not the worst port ever. I mean, Twisted Metal 3 and 4, I mean, never been the hugest fan of the franchise, but I'll take them, at least. I mean, Resident Evil 2 and 3 Nemesis, been meaning to replay the originals again, and since I've had my hours allotted in the remakes, I think especially since the first game's been on there for a while, and Myst and Riven are also pretty solid reports if the games themselves are touch data by today's standards. I'll admit that. I mean, I mean, the first Miss in particular is pretty popular at the time, but hasn't really had the same amount of staying power as something like, say, Mario 64, Resident Evil, Crash Bandicoot, or the original Tomb Raider review, personally. And we finally have an update now on 007 First Light, the first James Bond game we've had in over a decade since the failure of 007 Legends ended up killing that license, as well as talent developer Eurocom. And I gotta say that now that I have seen more of it, the concept alone is what has sold me. I mean, an origin story that's rooted in the books from the makers of Hitman, I would say sold. It's not coming till 2026, and even though I don't know how much Jeff will be eager to get the next movie out, I mean, it was kind of like one of the reasons I could say why he wrested control away from the Broccolis and Eon Films. But I am glad that he are letting IO cook. He's letting IO cook and giving them enough money resources to make their vision a reality. I mean, which seems to be the better option than non-starters like they've had for the other video game efforts. I mean, that's what I would argue, that the franchise not being run by Blofeld, it's being run by Veruca Salt and her parents, featuring both the books version as well as the variants you see in the movie as well, both the 71 variants and the 05 variants, like that. I mean, and so we're going to stop shelling peanuts and start shelling in this classic spy franchise instead. A brief but a notable update for Ghost of Yotei, with more gameplay coming in July, which is fine by me. Hey, as someone who really loved Ghost of Tsushima, I think it'll definitely be a real one I was anticipating way more than AC Shadow, and also be a much more respectful take on Japanese culture with just enough of the fantasy to make it believable. At the very least, they understand the idea that you want to use your shrines as save points, and also to revere for building skill trees, as opposed to just bailing through them like the people when I was visiting the shrine in Oahu. I mean, look, even I have seen enough anime to know you're supposed to take your shoes off at the door. Or, I mean, I'll have some press when I actually go there one day. To close out the presentation is a very pleasant surprise. It's not Marvel vs. Capcom 4 yet, but a Marvel fighter from the makers of Guilty Gear, BlazBlue, and Dragon Ball Fighter Z. Arc System Work sounds good to me. I would also personally love a Shonen Jump crossover fighting game from them, with the many characters that grace the pages of that famed manga magazine. And even though there's going to be a lot of characters coming, my very ideal big name pick is Wolverine, and my wildcard pick would be Lunella Lafayette as a Moon Girl. So, but we've got Spider-Man, we've got Iron Man, we've got Captain America, we've got Kamala Khan as Ms. Marvel, we've got Doctor Doom, we've got Star-Lord, and I also rather enjoy that we're also getting like the Reyes variant of the Ghost Rider. I mean, while most people are familiar with Johnny Blaze, I think the Reyes version of the character is actually pretty cool, and I was actually using on Agent Shield briefly as well. I mean, so I'm already liking the variety of characters and names, like how. And oh yes, Storm is going to be in there, so that also why I say other mutants are a safe bet now that they've got the rights back. Heck, I mean, I even like how like the arena they're fighting in front of has a billboard for Dazzler in concert. I mean, in fact, I'm still very much open to the idea of Taylor Swift playing her in the MCU if she is so inclined. I mean, not that I would accuse anyone of there being any bad blood. I mean, ooh, look what you made me do. There certainly will not be any teardrops on my guitar, There's a bit of dust I'm going to get off of it, though, I mean. But I will be very much interested in playing this game. I could definitely see myself having a PS5 by 2026, especially since they're going to be de-emphasizing the PS4 content drops for the new system. So, there's that. Anyway, that'll be all for now, and I'll see you all again soon for my reaction and thoughts on the Donkey Kong Bonanza Direct. So, take care, everyone.